Back to the channel. On this time around, we are playing Feed the Beast Revelations of a version 3.2. Feed the Beast is just a modded Minecraft. So we're going to go ahead and get started with just the basics of Minecraft, getting some wood, trying to get a wheat farm going, get some food, and then we'll go ahead and progress into a couple of the mods that I'd like to start with. So as soon as I get some type of stable living real quick, I will be right back. All right, we are back. I got a little hut built here. I also there were some sheep around, so I killed them, got some wool, made a bed. Just a double chest with some little things that I found while I was mining down here, just to get some cobblestone so I can make some basic tools here. Within killing the sheep for the wool, I got some mutton, cooked that up. And that's about where I got to. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get into Tinker's Construct, because that's a mod where you can double your ores as well as create tools and also add modifiers to those tools so you can make them mine quicker. You can also add lapis for what is it called? For fortune. You can add a couple other materials to those to make them better, so you don't have to get to level 30 to get the enchantment table and get enchantments. You just add items that you mine to those tools to make them better. So what we need first for the Tinker's Construct is you need what's called grout. Grout is made with sand, clay, and gravel. And you combine those three, and then that's how you get grout. And then you need the grout to smelt into blocks. So there's a little search bar down at the bottom here. If you type @ and then a mod, it'll bring up all the items on the right side within that mod. So if I type in Tinkers and then put a space just so it picks up construct. And if I look right here, it's called a seared brick. This is what you need to basically get started with the smeltery, which is used to double ores. I'll go into a little bit more detail when we start building it. So you need some seared brick. And if you left click on an item over here on the right, that's how it shows you how to make that item or how to get that item. And then if you right click it, it shows you the uses for that item. So in this case, to get seared brick by left clicking, you have to smelt grout. And then you can also left click on items over here. So if you left click on grout, it'll tell you how to get it. You get it by combining gravel, sand, and clay. So it's pretty straightforward how to get seared brick. And then once you get the seared brick, you use it to create a controller and other items that you need for the smeltery to smelt down ores into liquid form. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some gravel, sand, and clay so I can create some grout. I did find some clay while I was mining down there. I only got 20. I like to start with a stack of each because it does double the grout. So when I get a stack of each, I'll end up with 2 stacks of grout. It's a good starting for that. You are going to need more if you want to dabble into making it a little bit more efficient and more. You can double ores quicker by adding more in at a time. But like I said, when we get into building it, I will explain that a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and go grab me some grout. So I will be right back as soon as I have my 2 stacks of materials. All right, and I have a stack of each of the items down at the bottom there. So now that I have that, I'm going to go ahead and combine them just up here in the 2x2 crafting grid. Just a gravel, sand, and clay. It doesn't matter what order you have it in. You can have it in whichever order you prefer. Just whatever you click and drag it to. So that's going to make the 2 stacks of grout. So now I have to smelt the grout to get the seared brick. And then I need the seared brick to go ahead and make the smeltery. So let me go ahead and grab some more cobblestone. Create a couple more of those just so it's a little quicker. It's not going to smelt too quick, but it'll at least do something here. Yeah, I got enough. Because each coal smelts 8 items, so I definitely should have enough for the... I do not have enough for each. You know what? Let's just do it this way. Just throw that in there. Throw that there. 8 of those will smelt that stack. And then this 6 will smelt most of those. And then I can add this charcoal to smelt the rest. Don't need exactly all of this to get started with the mod. It just helps it helps to get it going by getting them all, but we'll do with what we have. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this smelt. Once this is done here, I will be right back. All right, so I went back down, mined a little bit more coal, found some more iron as well, and then I got some lapis. So which that's always helpful because that like I said, that's used to add fortune to our tools through Tinker's Construct. I did get about 72 seared brick smelted. It's going as we speak. Gonna go ahead and get started with like the basic design. I do have a manual here for the mod. So the book that you spawn in the world with, if you right click it, it gives you a couple mods that you can choose a manual to start with. I went ahead and chose the materials in you. It's just the beginning manual for the Tinker's Construct, just to give you an overall look of the mod itself. So you can look at the tools, the different materials that you can make the tools out of, basically the pros and cons of the material that you use. So if you use paper, it's not high in durability, but there are a couple more modifiers that you can add to it if you use iron. It's a good starting tool material to use, but the durability is really low on the iron one. So you definitely want to avoid using iron late game, but by that time you're going to probably be into a different mod within the tool systems. So I'm going to go ahead and make the smeltery here. The smeltery, this is what it's not mine. That's not what mine's going to look like, but that's the general idea of how it looks there. You can do the base 3x3. It goes up to 11x11. I'm just going to go ahead and do the basic one here. I do need a little bit of sand, and I don't have any. We'll ignore that for a little bit here, but to get started, you need a controller. The controller is how you control it. It's pretty straightforward. So to make the smeltery controller, you just do the 8 around. That makes the controller. And then to lay out the bricks, because you can't really place these, so you have to make these into an actual brick to place to outline your smeltery. So to do that, it's just a 2x2, and then that creates one of them, and that's how you make your smeltery. These are the blocks that you need. You also need to take the liquid out of the smeltery, so you need a drain. To make the drain, you just line up 3 on that side, 3 on this side. That's a smeltery drain. So for the drain, you need a faucet to pour the liquid from the drain to whatever you're putting it in. So to make a faucet, it's just like a bucket. It's just a little V pattern here. So that gives you a faucet. You're also going to need either a basin. I'll pull it up real quick here. You either need a basin, and this is how you make a basin. It's just like a cauldron. That's to pull out 9 ingots at a time. So it'll automatically pour the 9 ingots out and make a block of whatever material that's in there. This is what I like to use for the most efficient way. If you're throwing in like a stack of iron and it pulls, and now you have 2 stacks of ingots on the inside, this is going to be the quickest way to pull it out instead of pulling it out ingot by ingot. This basically pulls it out into a block. So I'm going to go ahead and make one of those. Like I said, it's the same pattern, I believe, as a cauldron. I guess my E clicked. So go ahead. I did the basin. And then you also are going to need a I think it's called a casting table. Yes, casting table. So it's it's basically the basin, but upside down. So this is to cast items. So this is how we're going to make our tools. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to build this and what the basin, how to do the basin and everything is. You will need another faucet. And you will need another drain unless you use the drain efficiently. I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So let me go ahead and create the rest of these into bricks. And then let me grab the rest of these. I'm going to also make the rest of these into bricks except for 8. And I will show you why except for 8. So let me head outside. Let me sleep. But we're going to head outside. I'm going to give you the basic build for a smeltery, and then once we go through that, no. Bye. So I'm gonna go up here and do the smeltery, I guess. It's not really a great idea for it, but it'll work. Let me clear off those. Oh, the flower that I have in my hand, it's from a mod called Britannia, as you can see in the top. I don't have the red one in my hand, but the blue one is also part of the mod Botania. So that's a mystical red flower. What I have in my hand is a mystical light blue flower. So you can use these to create dyes. So if you're into dyeing a lot of wool for building, I would recommend using these instead of sheep. The main reason is that you can craft these into petals, and then you use those petals to plant more flowers. And then once you get a mob spawner up and get a lot of bone meal, you plant the petal, and then you just hit it with bone meal, and then hit it with shears, and then you get 3 petals. So it's a very efficient way to get dyes. So if you see any flowers from Botania, make sure you grab them, because like I said, that's probably the easiest way to get dyes that I know of. Definitely no master in Feed the Beast or mod packs. So, of course, the shovel breaks. So that I believe that is the quickest way, but like I said, not 100%. So I'm gonna go ahead and dig out a 3x3 here so we can lay down the base of our smeltery. Let me go ahead and get some smeltery bricks, sear bricks. Okay, I didn't want you there, and I don't have a pickaxe. Head back into the house, or whatever you want to call this. I'm gonna need that, and 3 of that. And the reason I didn't smelt the iron yet is, the reason I'm building the smeltery is the main reason for it is to double your ores in the beginning of the game. There is another way with, I will show you here, applied energistics mod. You can make a quartz grindstone and then a wood crank. So it does basically the same thing as ore doubling as the smeltery, but with the quartz grindstone, you put in your ore, and then you place the crank on top, and then you just hold right mouse click on the crank, and it just spins it, and it breaks the ore down into dust. So each ore gives you 2 dust. Then you take the 2 dust over to your furnace, and you smelt those into the ingots. So if you don't want to go through the smeltery very early on, this is another way to do that, is the quartz grindstone and the wooden crank. But I like to just use the smeltery because you get ore doubling, and you can also go ahead and make tools that are repairable instead of making them over and over again. And like I said, I'll go into more detail on the tools. So this is the basic design, just 3x3 on the bottom. And then you don't need one in the corner because if you stand on the inside, it's enclosed. So you don't need one here. It's just a waste of the sear brick. If you want to, because it looks better, I prefer not to have straight corners, but if you want to go ahead and add them there, you definitely can. Okay, so the smeltery controller, you can place that wherever on the base level. I believe it has to be on the first level because you can go higher up on these. Like you can go all the way up to the max height. Wouldn't recommend it, but you can. So I believe the smeltery controller has to be on the bottom here. What I'm missing here is a seared tank, and to make the seared tank, you outline a piece of glass with the seared brick. That's why I needed 8 of them left. So I need to run over to here, just grab a piece of sand so I can make 1 glass, so we can go ahead and make the seared tank, so we can go ahead and finish the basic build of the smeltery. Let me grab that, run back. I believe this is version 1.12.2 of Minecraft, so you do have the sword delay, the sweep effect, and everything like that. You don't have the nice swimming, as in I think it was 1.14 that it was added. So if it seems a little odd that I'm not swimming quick or anything like that, I just want to let you know it is on version 1.12.2. I believe it's in the top left, but I'm not sure if it's picked up in the recording. So let me grab the glass. So like I said, if you place a glass in the middle and then you outline it with seared brick, it makes a tank. So the tank is where you add your fuel to melt down the ores into liquid. So I believe the only fuel you can use is lava. Could be wrong, but that's what I prefer to use because once you go to the nether, it's pretty. It's not an unlimited supply, but it's pretty close. So as you can see, as soon as I place that, this lit up red. If I break this, it shuts off, and when it's lit up, that means that you've completed the basic circuit of it. So if you go ahead and right click on this, it'll give you this UI. So the items on the left over here, the 3x3, those are where you put your ores to be smelted down. And then once they're smelted down, they go into this middle section. And as it says right here, I have 72 ingots that I can fit into this smeltery. So I can melt down 36 ores until this is full. And then this is just my fuel. I don't have any fuel in there yet, and that's why this bucket comes in handy. So I'm going to go run down to the bottom of my mine. Hopefully I don't die. And I can grab some lava. I do have a texture pack on. It is Fax Pure BD Craft. I use it. I don't really care for the vanilla textures. If I have to use them, I will, but I don't prefer them in modded Minecraft. For specific reason for me is that I'm used to using it, so the ores are easy to pick up if I'm mining. That's not good. I'm gonna die. And I'm dead. That is not how I wanted to start. Like I was saying, I'm used to using this, so I know what the ores look like. And when you're using vanilla textures on modded, it gets very hard to get the difference between silver, tin, and a bunch of the other ones because there's a lot of them that look the exact same. And for me, I like to be able to see exactly what it is before I mine it because there's a point where I don't mine a lot of it. So that's why I use a texture pack, and it makes it look a little better. There is a graveyard mod, so when you die, it does go here into a grave. All you have to do is just destroy the grave and you get all your items back. So now that that is like that, let me go ahead and just reorganize this just a little bit. I don't really have a lot to organize, but let's go ahead and do that. And then that. There we go. I'm not going to grab that lava, so I die again. I believe there's more down here. There's not. There's no light source down there. As you can see, there is a mini-map in the top right. I'm sure you noticed that as soon as I started, but just wanted to... Yeah, I'm not going that way either. I'm just going to go ahead and mine out this one over here just to grab it out and try not to jump through it this time. So let me get rid of this. I would have to say that's the earliest I've died in Minecraft and probably ever. So that can go down in the record books. All right, now that we have the lava, I'm going to run back upstairs. Okay, so these are waypoints here. As you can see, the cave entrance, just so I don't get lost, and a death. To access these, you hit J. This isn't what your screen's going to look like if you just popped it open. It's going to pop up a thing where you can look at basically the maker of the mod, as well as the patrons behind the mod. If you hit, I think it's close at the bottom, it'll eventually bring you to this screen here. To get to your waypoints, it's the little diamond down here. So if you click that, this is where you can edit the name of the waypoint. You can change the color of the waypoint, things like that. You can also remove it if you want. I'm going to go ahead and remove this death waypoint because we don't really need a reminder of where I died because I already grabbed my gravestone and I don't really like to be reminded that I died that early on. So I go ahead and deleted that. And as we climb up these annoying jumps because I forgot to make stairs, I will go ahead and place the lava into the smeltery so we have some fuel. And then we will throw in the iron that we have so I can give you a rundown of how to get your items out of the smeltery. So it's not too difficult. It's actually pretty straightforward. And it's nice that we have 9 or 18. I'm just going to take 9 because that's all we can fit in it at the time of right now because it's only a 3x3. So I can only fit 9 in at one time. So this is the basic idea, but like I said, you do need a drain to bring your items out. I can't place it up here because the liquid's going to be below. So you have to have the drain on the, I would say the lowest point that's complete. So if I had it like this, I can't place it up here still. It has to be a complete circle. It has to be a complete layer. So for this to work, I have to place the drain. And I like to put it on the corner. And the reason for that is that you can place a basin here and the casting table here. So if I was to place it in the middle, I could only use one of the drain hooks. So I would have to place one here and then one up there or one somewhere else to be able to use 2. So I place on the corner so I can use 2 for 1 block. Just more efficient. So I don't have a shovel again. So I'm going to go ahead and dig this out because the basin has to be below the faucet because it pours out. And then the casting table also has to be below the faucet because it also drains out. So I'm going to go ahead and right-click the lava bucket on the tank and it adds it as fuel. As you can see, it's 1/4 of the way because you can add 4 buckets to it. So if you go ahead and right-click on the smelter, you can now see there's lava over here. And if you just left-click the iron it automatically places it in. So there's a little bar here. That's the progress of this smelting down. And as you can see, it displays in there. I'm gonna go ahead and sleep. It won't bypass the progress or anything, but I just want to not die again. So once we get up here, go back out. I'm gonna go ahead and wait for this to smelt. It doesn't take too long. All the items that you put in here, some smelt quicker than others. I believe if you throw in cobblestone, it's fairly quick. There's a couple other ores that are quicker than iron. I believe maybe all the ores are the same, but I believe that cobalt and all those that are higher up in the progression, or they take a little bit longer. So it doesn't use a lot of lava to smelt them down. So as you can tell, the ores are now gone. They're now liquid. So now it's called molten iron, and it shows that I have 2 blocks. So if you have multiple molten liquids in here, so say I threw in some gold, I would have gold and iron. Whichever one you want to pour out, you have to click on it, because if not, it pours whatever's at the bottom. So if I had iron here and then gold up here, it would throw out iron and not gold. And if I wanted to switch it, I would just click the gold that's above it, and it would switch down to the bottom. So now that the molten iron's here, and I have the basin, which you can pour out 9 ingots and it automatically creates a block, I'm going to go ahead and right click this faucet. And once that's done filling up the tank, which or the basin, it just says tank. Once that fills it up, we'll right click this and it'll show that there's only 1 block left in there. So I'll right click here, 1 block. So I have to wait for this to cool. That's what the little percentage is. Once it's cold, we can right click it, and then that automatically takes out a block of iron. So this is just a basic ore doubling for the smeltery. We are going to make this taller so we can put more than 9 iron in there, because eventually we will get probably a stack or 2 while mining, and it would just get annoying adding 9 at a time. So here's the block of iron. We can make it into ingots, and that's the basic understanding of a smeltery for ore doubling. So in the next episode, we're going to go ahead and increase the height of this. I'll probably do that in between episodes, just increase the height. I went through how to make everything, so I'm just going to go ahead and increase the height. Take these out of the ground and put them up on the ground. Makes it look a little cleaner. And then we will be getting into creating tools with the Tinker's Construct, which is the main reason for this mod here. So I will go ahead and increase the height on this, and then in the next episode we will continue into Tinker's Construct. And I will catch you in the next one.